do you feel the reaction of the fans so far? Because you've made 2 or 3 dates in Europe, like about in the States. How did they react to the new song?
Very well. I mean, the album leaked for us about 2 months early, so a lot of people knew the songs already, and the feedback was a lot more immediate and more than I expected. So, and the press, some of the press that I did read was really positive. So it was good. You know, it was a good feeling. It was written really fast, but it was a lot of fun. It wasn't as we didn't make it as hard on ourselves, I think, as we have before, and that had a lot to do with Nick Resculinix, and the way he just worked with us. You know, it's a little different, you know. So it was working, and it was happening really fast, and I think that's the amazing thing there.
To what extent did he take part to the writing process, or was it only in the studio?
The entire process, start to finish.
So you chose him quite early, or he chose you maybe?
He chose us.
Yeah, he chose us.
Did he really?
Yeah, and he was there from the inception when we went in and started writing with nothing. You know? He's really good at pointing us in the direction. So there was no time to kind of second guess or sit back, and we were all in a room jamming, and he was the other person, like in the band with headphones on, or air drumming or air guitaring, and while we're jamming, at least for me, he would come over to my world and he would give me a nod if I was doing something good to keep on, so those type of things. And he recorded everything. He would listen and then come back the next day and say, like, check this out. So it was never time for downtime.
Started writing in March, and we were out of the studio in July.
But we had the bulk of the songs done within a couple months. You know? So while we were writing new ones, we were rehearsing the ones we had just written, and we were just going over and over. We were playing the whole record before we even tracked it.
Yeah, I'd say not even 2 months. Yeah. We had all the stuff. I'd say at least 8 or 9 songs of the stuff on there, probably in the first 2-3 weeks.
Yeah.
It was almost a song a day for a while.
Yeah. In the beginning, it was a song a day. Yeah.
The album sounds great. Yeah. I never set any expectations. I don't try to look into the future because it don't do me no good. So when it was all complete and I got a final copy to listen to, it just sounds awesome.
Yeah. Before, when we would write songs in the studio, because we would enter the studio with maybe a handful of songs and write the rest of the record in the studio, it was pretty time-consuming and costly. But you know, that it's kind of like spur of the moment. You make it happen. But this, we already knew what the record sounded like. We knew what it sounded like. The only difference was probably sonically after the mixing and stuff, how much more better they sounded.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
There's this really misconceived notion out there that we did everything live all the time.
Yeah.
And this entire record was recorded on Pro Tools.
Yeah.
The entire process, from writing to finishing.
That's how most records are recorded now anyways.
Yeah, but maybe the difference is that you didn't
it's all
cut
chopped
everything
up
and mix the parts of the song once they were recorded.
Yeah, the entire thing
But that's
was
how a
chopped
record
up.
is made. But the difference, I think, where it's got misconstrued is we weren't writing it in the studio and figuring out our parts and then, layering them that way.
Yeah, it wasn't written with it.
It wasn't written with Pro Tools. Basically, that's where it got misconstrued. We literally were jamming it out, and it was a lot of fun. You know what I mean? And we knew what we had. And Chino's process of writing melodies while we were writing the song, that helped speed the process up too, and allowed for ideas to flow faster. But it had a lot to do with Nick, man. The way he was able to corral us at the time and the headspace we were in. I guess he just knew. You know what I mean? He knew how to make it work, man.
Yeah, the entire process was no different than any record prior, except for the only difference was Nick. Yeah. That's the difference.
Yeah, you seem to have really enjoyed working with him. It feels like...
yeah, I can't wait to work with him.
It seems that everyone that works with Nick has the exact same experience.
You say it's like a brother your age.
Yeah.
Like Terry Days is more like a father.
No, Terry's like us.
You know, Terry I wouldn't say so much he's an older cat, but he's not so much like a father. Just different ways of working. You know what I mean? Yeah. And Terry usually came in after we had written some songs or stuff. So the difference is Nick was there from writing.
Terry let us be ourselves and let us do as we wanted because that's how we felt. Yeah. We wanted no interference. Yeah. With Nick, we wanted the interference. Interference is probably not the proper word, but you know the collaboration. You know?
Exactly.
Before we didn't need to collaborate. This one we wanted to collaborate.